All right, so how do you say I tell them? So ich sage ihnen. Be careful here, the object of sagen is dative. Okay, so uh, again, so uh, plural, so they, third party plural they, so it is z. Accusative is ihnen and dative is also ihnen, so don't get confused that it is accusative, it is dative. Okay, for example, if you want to say I tell you, then it will be ich sag dir. Okay, I tell her, ich sage sie. I tell him, ich sage ihn, ihn. They don't have to write your questions in chat, right? Or they don't have to write the questions. Let's say if you just want to say, so I tell you guys, don't need to raise your hand, or just, right, you can just unmute yourself and start asking your question at any point during the sessions. So how do you say they don't have to write your questions in chat? Now you might think, okay, this is too complicated, I cannot say this in German, but you can. You have all the tools. So here is how you say don't have. So how do you say have to? You have to use modal verb müssen, and you have to just negate it at the correct position with the word nicht. So Sie müssen Ihre Fragen nicht im Chat schreiben. This is something new. So how do you say in chat? You will have to say im chat. Okay. Now, don't try to like learn why it is im. Actually, it is im is nothing but in and them, and we'll learn this later. Okay, we'll learn this later. And if you can notice here, at some position accusative is before dative. Please tell me why that is, and we can discuss about it. Then let's say if you, now we'll learn something new. So if you want to say that, I tell them that they don't have to write questions in chat. So you have to use the German counterpart for that, right? And it is das. Okay, it is das. It sounds exactly like das Neutrum, but it is das. Okay, double S. What happened here is that the müssen, the conjugated verb which was at the second position, moved to the last position, right? If you notice, müssen is not now after schreiben. Okay, now here after schreiben the full stop should be after müssen. Okay, this is a mistake, but I think it's it's obvious to you. So what happened when you use das, the verb, so after das, the subject, the sentence that you have in that sentence, the conjugated verb gets pushed to the last position. So it is dass Sie Ihre Fragen nicht im Chat schreiben müssen. So when you use das, this is so normally when you use das, we can say that the sentence, so when you use das, you have a sentence before das and sentence after das, and the sentence before das, so you have is called as Hauptsatz, and the sentence after das is called as Nebensatz. Okay, so main sentence, or I mean you can, I'm not sure if you can call them that, but you can think it of as that the main clause, subordinate clause, but I don't think that's correct. Okay, also make sure that you write comma before das. So what happens in Nebensatz, let's say if you have a sentence where, let's say a normal sentence, right? Look at there are 4 blue banners over here. Now only focus on the banner at the top left. Okay, so you have subject, modal verb. Okay, don't focus on that, let's focus on the one at the bottom left, right? Subject, verb, object, right? So here the syntax is clear. You write subject, then you write verb, then you write object. But when this subject is in Nebensatz, okay, it is after das. Here the syntax is that the verb gets pushed to the last position. Okay, so it's subject, object, verb. What about, let's look at the top left. So it is subject, modal verb, object, normal verb, right? In Nebensatz, the modal verb will get pushed to the last position and it will be after the normal verb. Let's look at the bottom right. So you have subject, object, normal verb, modal verb. Okay, actually it's pronounced as Subjekt, Objekt, normal verb, modal verb. Now it's obvious that the conjugation, everything you should know. So it's obvious. So in a normal sense, I think the arrows got reversed over here for subject, object, and verb. But I think so. Yeah, the arrow that is coming from bottom right to, sorry, top right to bottom left. So top right to bottom left, it should be the other way around. So you have das. Other conjunctions are weil, da, and then. So again, when you use them, it will be like you say something. So you say, let's say you say sentence A, then you have comma, and then you have weil, they, da, or then, and then you have the other sentence. In this other sentence, so when you say, so after weil, da, or then, it will be subject, object, verb. Okay, if there is no modal verb. If there is modal verb, then it will be subject, object, verb, modal verb. Okay, and now when do you use these? So while, da, and then, whenever you want to give a reason. Okay, so you want to say A, there A because B. So you want to say sentence A, comma, sentence, sentence A comma because sentence B. So you want to say that A, some sentence A is describing a situation, and then you want to say why this situation. Okay, so I hope that is clear. More about these we will learn later, but also what do these mean? So these mean they are giving a reason. So you can think of them for now as because. So while, the, and then you can think of them as the English because, but uh, there will be situations where it will be more appropriate to use while and not the and then. Okay, so there will be situations where you cannot use them interchangeably, but for now you can use think all of them as because. Why do I say that? Let's not consider because. Let's consider the English conjunctions such as therefore, hence, as a result. Okay, so sometimes you can use these interchangeably, but there will be situations where you should not use hence, you should use therefore, right? And the other vice versa. Just telling you. So now you can use while, the, and then interchangeably, but later in A2 I will tell you when not to do that. So you can turn on your microphone and ask your questions. How do I say this? So how do you say turn on? Again, it is einschalten or anschalten, can, können, conjugated for ich. Let's see. Your microphone, you know how to say this, and ask your questions. So Sie können, ihr könnt euer Mikrofon, again. So here I am being informal with you. I am talking to more than one of you. So ihr könnt euer Mikrofon einschalten und eure Fragen stellen. Again, here to say ask your questions, I use Fragen stellen. Again, this is something that you have to learn. In German, when you want to say ask your questions, ask questions, it will be Fragen stellen. Okay, it sounds something like you should keep your questions. Okay, because stellen normally means keep, but here just learn. This is something. German is a new language, so you have to learn it. Okay, so I mean, how can I tell you this? For example, I it depends in the language, right? So in some languages, you don't have to. Some people say instead of delete they say clean, so they don't say delete the number, they say clean the number actually. But if you want to say it exactly in German, it will sound weird, right? So all right, I answer the question. So ich beantworte Ihre Fragen. Now you should ask me why I'm not using antworten, why I'm using beantworten. And I think I have answered this question before as well, but I'll answer it one more time. The difference between antworten and beantworten is this. When you use antworten, the object will be a person. When you use beantworten, the object can be anything but a person. So here, ihre Fragen is not a person. So here, that's why I'm using beantworten. If it was I answer him, or I answer her, I answer them, it would be antworten. I think it's opposite. That is obvious to you. Antworten versus beantworten. I think I answered this.